Discovery has been urging people to expand their worlds for years. And I'm doing just that right now. Additionally, you must, of course, go serve ice cream both before and after the event. And that was actually an additional issue. It was the rapport between its two hosts, Edd China, a mechanic, and Mike Brewer, a dealer. Together, they worked with Wheeler dealers to create magic by demonstrating the complete car buying, car restoring, and car selling process while educating their audience. However, Edd China's abrupt announcement of his departure in 2017 shocked the fan base and brought an abrupt end to that dynamic duo. Was Edd's departure actually due to a disagreement with the show? Or was it a personality conflict? Or perhaps there's more going on behind the scenes? What was Mike's opinion of his departure? Wheeler Dealers added something special to automotive television when it debuted in 2003. An emphasis on the entire restoration procedure, from the car's original purchase to its eventual sale. The show's core was the harmony of two different roles. Astute auto dealer Mike Brewer would search for discounts and bargain for the best price on worn-out classics. However, through extensive repairs and restorations, Edd China, the skilled mechanic, would bring those vehicles back to life. Edd's ability to simplify intricate mechanical tasks and captivate audiences with his technical know-how was what made Wheeler Dealers unique. Fans valued Edd's techniques because they were doable, understandable, and reproducible for auto enthusiasts wishing to attempt comparable repairs at home. This breadth of expertise became a defining characteristic of the show and one of its main attractions. Both fans and critics commended Edd and Mike's synergy. Despite having different personalities, Edd's cool, collected manner and Mike's vivacious, business-first approach, they complemented one another in a way that felt natural and relatable. As the show grew from the UK to an international audience, this chemistry helped it acquire a devoted following. Following the relocation of its manufacturing to the United States, Wheeler Dealers achieved unprecedented success by 2013. This change gave the program the opportunity to explore America's rich automotive culture while showcasing a wider range of vehicles. The move solidified the show's status as one of the most popular car restoration TV shows by bringing it to a wider worldwide audience. However, the demands of production increased along with the show's popularity. Cracks in the dynamic would start to show behind the scenes and become painfully apparent for many fans in the years that followed. The show's original formula started to feel the strain of the shift to an international production and the demands of filming under a larger network as Wheeler Dealers gained popularity. Later seasons saw minor adjustments that fans noticed, like shorter repair scenes and a greater focus on entertainment rather than intricate mechanics. However, when Edd China made his exit from the show public in 2017, the true tension was revealed. In a YouTube video discussing his departure, Edd disclosed that the decision was a reaction to creative disagreements with the network, Velocity, which was subsequently rebranded as Motor Trend, rather than his first choice. Edd claims that the network pushed for major changes that would cut down on the amount of time and effort spent demonstrating intricate mechanical work, which he felt was essential to the show's character. He clarified that the new approach degraded the work's quality and prevented him from upholding the caliber of his restorations that fans had grown accustomed to. The dynamic of the show changed significantly with Edd's departure. The split caused a lot of fan backlash, even though Mike Brewer was still on the show. Many people accused the network of putting cost-cutting ahead of the quality of the content. In a sobering indication of how fervently fans had taken to the show, Mike later acknowledged that he and his family had received death threats after Edd's announcement. The behind-the-scenes adjustments also brought attention to broader industry pressures. Achieving a balance between authenticity and efficiency became more difficult for shows like Wheeler Dealers as production budgets shrank and demands for quicker turnaround times rose. Edd China made the difficult decision to leave the series because these concessions were too much for him to accept. Fans remained split despite the network's defense that the changes were required to modernize and streamline the program. It was more than just losing a co-host when Edd left. It represented a change in the character of the show. One that many people thought would never be replaced. Edd China's departure from Wheeler Dealers caused a huge hole in the series and shocked the fan base. Many viewers expressed their displeasure and accused the network of diluting the show's essential principles. The reaction on social media was swift, with devoted viewers saying that Edd's thorough technical explanations were what made the show unique among other automotive programming. After Edd left, Mike Brewer defended the show repeatedly, saying that although he respected Edd's choice, the show had to change to stay in business. But in an interview with The Sun, he disclosed that the consequences were personal. Mike clarified that he and his family experienced abuse and death threats on the internet, with some fans blaming Edd alone for Edd's departure. "Someone threatened to come around and kill me, so I had to call the police," he said. "It was so severe that my daughter was also singled out." This response demonstrated how devoted viewers were to the show's original format. In order to proceed, the program replaced Edd with Ant instead. Ant, a car builder and former police officer, filled Edd's void in the series with his own expertise and skill set. Fans had a mixed reaction to his attempts to give the role legitimacy. While some felt that the chemistry and dynamic between the hosts had been irrevocably changed, others praised Ant's vigor and approach. Fans also took issue with the show's new format under the Motor Trend Network, pointing out a persistent decrease in technical depth and repair sequences. Although the show continued to highlight intriguing vehicles and offers, it was evident that substantial adjustments had been made to conform to the network's emphasis on effectiveness and a more entertainment-oriented approach. Edd saw his decision to leave the show as a protest for his artistic integrity. However, it turned into a fork in the road for wheeler dealers. Following the departure of one of its most cherished characters, the series had to redefine itself due to the backlash, the darker side of fan loyalty, and structural adjustments made to satisfy production demands. Edd China created a new route after leaving that enabled him to continue being creatively independent while remaining in touch with his followers. He started his own YouTube series, Edd China's Workshop Diaries, in 2021. Without being constrained by time limits set by the network, the show enabled him to delve even further into technical projects. Here, Edd tackles a variety of mechanical problems, such as repairing unusual cars, experimenting with new technologies, and taking on tasks he was unable to complete while working as a wheeler dealer. Fans who thought the first series had lost its depth found Workshop Diaries to be a welcome return to Edd's love of openness and learning. Edd's new endeavor further demonstrated his unwavering dedication to doing things his way. He steered clear of the compromises he faced while working on wheeler dealers by concentrating on specialized projects and experimental engineering. He was able to interact with auto enthusiasts who had followed his journey from the beginning thanks to this direct connection to his fanbase. As he adjusted to new co-hosts, first with Ant Anstead, and then with Mark Elvis Priestley, Mike Brewer maintained his position as the face of wheeler dealers. Although many fans commented that the chemistry of the early years was no longer present, the show continued to be popular in some circles. During interviews, Mike himself admitted that Edd's departure had a lasting effect and that things were never quite the same after he left. However, in order to appeal to a wider audience, he said he wanted to maintain the show's essence while taking a slightly different approach. Wheeler dealers continued to experience success in spite of the changes. Ant Anstead's arrival offered a new viewpoint, and Mark Priestley later tried to combine technical know-how with personality, although the fan base continues to compare him to Edd. Nonetheless, the continuous criticism from fans of the original format emphasizes that the legacy of the show now encompasses both its past and present. Even though Edd and Mike have taken different career paths, devoted fans are still curious about whether they will ever work together again, either on screen or on a special project. Both of them are currently navigating their respective careers. Each one stands for a distinct understanding of the values that wheeler dealers once upheld. In addition to signaling the end of an era, Edd China's departure from wheeler dealers established a standard for how artistic disagreements can influence the course of a cherished series. Even though his departure was ultimately caused by conflicts behind the scenes, his technical know-how and teaching style continue to be a defining feature of the show's legacy. His steadfast adherence to his values had a profound effect on the business, especially with audiences who prefer genuine entertainment to streamlined production. In contrast, Mike Brewer has put a lot of effort into keeping the program current and relevant in the rapidly evolving field of automotive television. However, Wheeler Dealers is still defined by the conflict between upholding the show's original spirit and satisfying the requirements of contemporary production. Many viewers were nostalgic for the show's previous format, so even though the new co-hosts offered new viewpoints, comparisons to Edd China never completely disappeared. The importance of the host's relationship to the show's success is among the most important lessons to be learned from this chapter in its history. In an interview with Drive Tribe, Brewer admitted that it's difficult to replicate the chemistry we shared. Edd had a distinct style that is difficult to imitate. It is evident how important it is to have people who are genuinely passionate about their work, as evidenced by the continued interest in Edd's work after Wheeler Dealers, whether through his workshop diaries or guest appearances in automobiles. Wheeler Dealers, meanwhile, keeps experimenting with its brand while striking a balance between satisfying the demands of devoted viewers and entertaining a worldwide audience. Although its current format has come under fire for making restorations easier, younger fans who aren't familiar with the original dynamic find it to be a fun and approachable look at vintage vehicles. In the end, Edd's legacy and the show serve as a reminder of the power that sincerity and passion can have in any artistic endeavor. There is no denying Wheeler Dealer's impact on automotive television, regardless of whether viewers think the show lost its appeal after Edd left or just changed course. Both the show and those who followed Mike Brewer and Edd China's journey from the start have been impacted by their story of friendship, creative disagreements, and eventual divergence.